content. So realistically, I was thinking the more difficult or treacherous, or, this is the better. I mean, I had been literally living out of a Yugo for years at that point. So, I mean, we were just, the audience enjoys to see misery of some kind, and so I was like, however more miserable I can be, the better this will be. And
because
so,
they can connect with you.
The fact is, my
level.
friend, he didn't even take me out there. He just sent me a pin on Google of where it was. He goes, it's in the woods here, and we couldn't even find it day one. My girlfriend was with me, and she was furious that I had brought her out. We didn't have any supplies.
I can imagine.
We didn't have any axes or machetes or anything to cut the grass or to cut the trees. The path was non-existent. There was no path. And so we were out there for hours, and we didn't have any water, and we didn't have anything, and she was pissed. She was like, this is the worst idea ever. And then we went back the next day with my friend. I said, you need to come and you need to show me where this house is because I cannot find it. And we did. We found it, and yeah, it was horrible. I mean, just as bad as it could possibly be. And I was like, jackpot, perfect. This is exactly what we're looking for content, but also just for growth. Now, like I said, it wasn't like, we're going to turn this into the best house ever. It was just like, oh, this will be nice to clean. It'll be, 5 or 6 decent episodes, and then we'll go on into survival and just day in the life and things like that. I had actually, what inspired it is I had read a book called Walden, which is a book from the early 1800s written by kind of one of America's great philosophers, Henry David Thoreau.
Okay.
And that was effectively what he did, is he went out to the woods and he built a cabin with his bare hands and he lived in it for 2 years. And just kind of wrote down what was going through his head at the time. And what he talks about is living life deliberately, is you strip away all of the niceties of normal life, and then you can properly distinguish the difference between wants and needs. It creates an appreciation for, I don't know, the modern comforts that we have. And so, and he's extremely harsh about it. I mean, this came out in the 1800s, and he's talking about, you pay, let's say you pay $5 to take the train to work, and it takes you to work in 10 minutes, when if you walked, it would take you 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Well, why don't you wake up early, walk to work for 2 hours, and you just paid yourself $5 for your work? He makes an interesting point. I mean, cars didn't exist at the time, and he talks about, do you ride the train or does the train ride you? And I think you could say that about lots of things, about the clothes we wear and the cars we drive. And he even talks about luxuries like heat. You light a fire in your house, and that's a luxury. It's like, imagine what we have today. He invented the term brain rot, which we hear all the time now today about how people are rotting their brains with dull and uninteresting, shallow content on, he was talking about at the time was that newspapers were printing a lot of garbage that wasn't making the world any better.
Yeah.
And now
similar like today?
Like today with social media, people talk about brain rot when it comes to things like that. And so it really touched me, it really moved me, and I was like, yeah, like I'm into that. And now here we are, of course, we're putting all the luxuries in the house and we're making it really nice. But there is an impact there about focusing more on what happens inside as opposed to what happens outside. He talks about houses and about how he looks around the area he lives, that people are painting their houses and putting these pretty facades on and things like that. And he goes, how could these people be so worried about the color of their house when they don't know the color of their soul? And it's like, that's pretty profound. I mean, there is something there where it's like focusing more on the inner sort of spiritual intellectual things, you know, and finding out who you are. What is your identity outside of stuff and things? And frankly, even society. And what does, not worrying about what society says about you. And so now, of course, I'm not exactly living in the way that he would have suggested. And I wanted to be alone, and I wanted to discover that about myself. But what I've found is that, like I said, building this online community and building this in-person community has been really profound. And I've learned so much from just that. And so I think I would like to do an experiment like that, spend a little bit of time alone and try to remove those sort of niceties and things. I think that's the beauty of, we were talking about earlier, like fishing or camping or hiking, that moment when you get to strip away people and their thoughts and what they think about you or what you think about them, and you just kind of exist in the way we were created to exist.